Well, I did it again. I built a system for myself that honestly was far too structured for my ADHD brain to use. I spent so much time and energy, and I was like, this is the perfect thing. I've got everything I need on here. I will try to stick to this for 2 weeks, and it'll be a little experiment. And I will link that video here. I posted it 10 days ago at the time of recording this. And in that time, I stuck to my system for 3 days before I started sleeping in a little later, at which point the times that I'd drawn in marker and pen were too far off by, usually a few hours, and then meetings got moved around on me, and I just stopped using it altogether after 1 week. But you know what? I tried. And being a neurospicy, neurodivergent ADHDer, something I pride myself on is being able to recognize, to an extent, patterns pretty quickly, and to understand when something is going to help me and work and something is not. As much as I wanted that new system and structure to work, it really didn't. And previous versions of myself would have beaten myself up over that because I would have seen it as another failure. But realistically, while I didn't stick to it for very long, I feel like I did learn a lot. I think one of the biggest takeaways, was that I really need to stop trying to pigeonhole myself. I don't know if that's the right use of that word. Anyways, I need to stop trying to structure things so much because it really does not work for me. In this time, I've also, figured a few other ways that I want to tweak things. I want my business to work. I want, my energy to flow. And I don't get the freedom to do that if I am forcing myself into boxes that I don't like. So while the great scheduling experiment did not work so much, I did learn that, I do like having those blocks of time. They were actually really, really useful. And so trying to schedule in, to an extent, a block where I can work on a project for a couple hours a day, every day or most days, I think is very helpful. As well as trying to take the time to sit and write most days and work on art most days. But I don't think I need to formalize it to the extent that I have. And, we're working with it. I'm still trying to keep track of my hours, how much time I'm spending on things, because A, it's important, but B, it's also a requirement of the entrepreneurship program I'm in. But I'm learning that can take so many different forms. I'd actually gotten a suggestion from a friend of mine to create a Google form. And so that's something I plan to maybe try and start implementing because I'm a nerd at heart. I love research. I love data. I like actually knowing where my time goes. But I think taking 2 minutes at the end of the day to just fill out a quick little survey for myself and compile all that data at the end of the week or the month or whatever in a spreadsheet is gonna work better for me than trying to force myself to do it ahead of time. Because when I do it ahead of time, I spend too much time. And it's just, sometimes quite a waste of time because I spent hours doing that and, well, didn't really use it at all. Do I wish this update came with better news? Do I wish I'd stuck to the schedule? Sort of I do. But I think I've reached the point where I can give myself permission for that to be okay. To accept that, yeah, I did put that time in there, but I'm not getting it back. And I did still learn a lot, knowing how my energy flows and having a general idea of how I want it to work. It's still really helpful. The other thing I've also kind of figured out to an extent through some trial and error is maybe what I do to kind of keep myself on track organizational wise, over a longer period of time, because when you're for me at least, when I'm so in the moment thinking about what I'm actively working on, it's hard to put all the pieces together and know what that overarching project has to look like. And so something I'm going to try and do is give myself projects probably no more than 1 month ahead. I still know what I want my business to look like, long term, but give myself, deadlines to reach certain projects, like finally actually setting up my email list, but not structuring it to the point of death and boredom, if that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I got for this video. It's really more of an update and also to keep myself accountable, because at the end of the day, I wanted that thing to work out and it didn't. And it's like so many other failed attempts at scheduling that I've tried to structure for myself that just consistently don't work. And it really just brings it back to reminding me that the reason I want to be an entrepreneur, the reason why I create these videos and I work on my social media, is because my brain doesn't fit into that standard box where it's structurized schedules that are, the same on a week-to-week basis with the exact same start time and the exact same pattern and routine throughout the day. My brain's never worked like that. And one of these days I will stop trying to fit it into that box. But until then, I'll keep you updated on what I am doing and what actually does help my neurospicy artistic brain to function on a day-to-day.